It's important for us to remember that this is just a preseason game against the Commanders. Nothing more, nothing less. And we shouldn't overreact to what we just saw. But I'm going to be honest, this win against the Washington Commanders was simply the first step as the New York Jets head to the freaking Super Bowl this year, baby. Woo!
I'm going to lose my gosh darn bananas. Boy Green Daily starts now. Zoinks!
I made it clear that my intention was to play, and my intention was to play for the New York Jets.
You're just fucking depression.
What's going on, everybody? Paul Eston Jr., a.k.a. Boy Green. I'm the New York Jets digital reporter for Heavy.com. Welcome to Boy Green Daily, a daily New York Jets video show, also available wherever you get your friggin' podcast. And this is the start of our post-game schedule coming up this season. This is for the preseason games, and this is for the regular season as well. 2 hours after the final whistle, we come on here on the show to react to what the heck happened. And what the heck happened this time was a New York Jets dub, starting the 2024 season the right way with a last-second victory thanks to reigning UFL MVP Adrian "Gosh darn" Martinez. We have a full recap column in our YouTube description down below talking about the quarterbacks. That's where we focus this. Shout out to Andrew Peasley with that beautiful touch throw for the touchdown, 12-yarder to Jason Brownlee on the left side of the end zone. And Adrian Martinez, again, the reigning UFL MVP that showed a little bit of action both on the ground and also through the air. So you guys can check out that column. That's down below. And also, hopefully we can celebrate. Again, I'm about to open up the phone lines immediately. That is also the difference between Boy Green Daily, that we're on live every single morning at 7:30. We open up the phone lines in the second half of the show. But the recap shows are a show by the people for the people. And we open up the phone lines immediately to get your guys' calls and reactions and player takeaways and things of that nature here to everything that just transpired. Make sure you guys are throwing the likes in, hitting the subscribe button, getting some super chats action as we celebrate this first victory, hopefully the first of many. And plus, of course, join the membership, Boy Green Daily, and the Boy Green Coffee Club. You guys can get involved in all of that action. So without further ado, let me drop in the call into the show link. And booyah, that is now the pinned comment on YouTube. If you'd like to call into today's shows, feel free to do so. That is youtube.com/boygreen25. If you'd like to get involved on the program, we'll also be playing some Salah content. That's another reason I like to mix it up. There are some wonderful Jets content creators out there that go live as soon as the game's over. And those people are great. Hopefully, we could kind of give you the best of all worlds as it comes to New York Jets content creators, where you could call into a show immediately and observe that content. I like waiting because we get to hear it from Robert Saleh, and I get some time to kind of let it marinate myself before we dive into the deep end of the pool and get all the stats and the numbers and things of that nature. So we're going to get that train rolling here. With all of that. Again, 2 hours after every final whistle this season. Like I said, the only game that may be a little bit up in the air is that Week 3 Jets-Patriots game on Thursday Night Football. I'll be at that game, so we probably will not be live after that one, outside of it being super late. So let's keep that train rolling, baby, and let's start off with this from Hep.
Okay. Boy Green Daily, we're talking Jets. We are the best, forget the rest. We're up to date, we're going there. Super Bowl's coming, so all beware. Yeah.
Shout out to Hep, baby, for giving that nice concert, impromptu concert on Boy Green Daily. Before we go to the phone lines, I just want to give a shout out to the headline of this video, which is Adrian Martinez. He was 6 of 10, 104 yards, 10.4 per clip. Was Adrian Martinez, and he just had so many wow throws in this game, man. I'm telling you, I told you guys, if you guys listen to Boy Green Daily in the morning, I already told you that Adrian Martinez is going to be our Chris Trevler with an even better arm. That's what we were going to see, and that's exactly what happened, delivering a last-second victory for the New York Jets. He can run the ball. He had 2 carries for 24 yards, 12 yards a clip. He can throw the ball. He had great movement. He had great passes. The rainbow bucket throw was spectacular to Brandon Smith, and a 37-yard dime where he dropped it, rainbow throw in. Plus, of course, he had the one where he's waiting in the pocket, takes the snap. It's the game's on the line. He's waiting. A lot of pressure, evades it, rolls out to the right, finds Brandon Smith again. That one for a 33-yarder with about 3 minutes and change left in the game. With the game on the line, Adrian Martinez says, "Move over, baby," and he delivers. So great stuff there from Adrian Martinez. Again, shout out to him, our UFL MVP. Let's jump over to the phone lines immediately. We got our boy Tim from Fishland here on the show. What's up, Tim?
Hey, Paul. Great game.
Mm-hmm.
Braylon Allen is going to be an absolute beast. Okay, I think he could be a 3-down back too.
Mm-hmm.
Just based off what I saw, he reminds me of a young Thomas Jones, but with a little bit more juice.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. He gets
speed-wise.
downhill.
I hear what you're saying.
Yeah. Thomas Jones wasn't that fast. You know what I mean, but he was a bruiser and he knew how to run north and south. The other one, Davis looks good. I'm telling you, if the Jets get up on people this year, they're going to get into a bloodbath with people, because not only is the D-line going to be able to tee off on a quarterback, but we got stallions, 3 of them, in that backfield just to bleed out the clock and bleed out the game. So I'm very excited for this year and see. And another person I'm excited to see is Corley with Roger.
Yeah.
Okay. There was a couple passes to Corley where if he catches it in stride and is able to run after the catch and make a move and then use his because he's a pinball. Okay,
he is. You saw that one weird play where Zach Kuntz had the ball kind of fell out of his hands, and Corley had the wherewithal to grab it, and he was just ripping away from other defenders and moving north and south, which was pretty cool. Yeah, it was a great play.
But you know what I'm talking about? Like Martinez and Peasley, they did great today. Don't get me wrong. Like Peasley. That throw to the end zone, that's a big boy throw that Zach Wilson could never do. That's the one thing that I loved about today. Is the last 3 years of preseason, we had to watch a child try to play quarterback. Okay?
It was nice.
All he wants to do is run around in the backfield and wait for somebody that's got 5-yard separation, which is not the NFL.
And isn't it hard to kind of forgive the Jets for this? Because let's be honest, with all due respect, Adrian Martinez was a reigning MVP, but he was just hanging out there for anyone to sign. And Andrew Peasley was an undrafted free agent quarterback that had no chance of ever being drafted. And the Jets signed both these guys, and suddenly it's great. Like, why didn't the Jets do this previously? Like, these are two appears to be somewhat.
Why didn't they trade him when they saw that the kid can't process the game?
Rip the Band-Aid off. Yeah.
Okay. These kids sat in the pocket. Martinez actually threw a ball better on the run than him.
Yeah, it was terrific.
Okay, like this, I don't know what's with the Jets brass in that kid. I never understood what the hell was with them in that kid. I really didn't. Other factors of the game, JBC. Okay.
Surprising in a nice way.
I think though, people give crap about the Jets coaching staff as bad as they do, but really, if you look at it in the last 3 years after Gase, you're actually seeing development, which you never saw from the Jets team. All right, I can't remember any real draft picks that they kept throughout the whole McCagnon era and even like late Todd Bowles and stuff like that. Like they never really re-signed a draft pick for years.
They did not. No.
Okay, because they couldn't develop them. The coach couldn't develop them. The offensive line, I thought, played well.
Yeah,
for the most part, especially in pass protection. I didn't really see them, Peasley get under duress that much.
Yeah, let me see. I have the numbers in front of me. So I know Martinez wasn't sacked once, and neither was Peasley. So there you go. So Martinez and Peasley were clean. Neither got a sack. Tyrod did when he was scrambling around, so he got sacked once. So the Jets' offensive line, only gave it 1 sack the entire game. You love to see it.
Yeah, I love to see it. Other than that, I'm pissed off right now. I just got done with a game on Madden. So many.
For people that don't understand, some people play Madden and they can just, whatever happens, win or loss, they just walk away. Woo! To me, I am so invested and competitive in everything. Yeah.
Well, it's not even that. It's just how close the game was.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And somehow this guy figured out how to make you strip the ball when you're like being wrapped up, like you're going down.
Some people have that technique if you're holding people up to rip it. Yeah. I'm not.
I don't know how they do that. I got to figure out how they do that.
Sure.
But dude, there was 2 instances. I had them 4th down. I go for it. Nobody's open on man coverage. It's against the Dolphins too.
Yeah.
Okay, and I scrambled with Rodgers, and I had it, bro. He got tackled, and half of his body was above the red line. But now,
sorry, man. That's
tough.
Yeah,
I make Tua fumble it with like 50 seconds left in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I get the ball, and I hit my RPO to Lazard on a slant.
Okay,
and as he's going down, they rip the ball out of his hand.
Wow, bless you for somehow the Jets game ending and then you squeezing in a Madden game and then you jumping on here. That's impressive on your timing, man.
Dude, if I could have thrown my controller at the damn TV, it was at that point. Because I was just going to bleed the clock out on his ass, kick field goal.
Sure.
He was only, it was 37-38. That was the final score.
Wow. Brutal. That's
tough. All right. But yeah, it is what it is. It's just like, man, just little shit like that just drives me bonkers. Okay, when it's that close, like if I can handle getting blown out, you know what I mean? I can handle getting, beat completely, but like, dude, come on, man. Really? Against the Dolphins of all freaking goddamn teams.
Yeah. Hopefully we're giving some more business to the Dolphins this year than receiving, but I guess we'll see that.
I can tell you this, the Jets are going to be a problem for teams, especially if we stay healthy. Because
a lot of exciting things, man. Yeah.
Not only do we have a Hall of Fame quarterback, but we have a stable of stallions, young stallions too. Okay, and it's funny, Brees is only 23 years old.
That's right, and he's like one of the old men in the room. Outside of like Valladay and Deion Jackson are 25 and 26, and those guys aren't going to be on the team, so it's going to be Brees as the old man, which is kind of crazy.
And then you got the defense. Okay, and when you get up on people, that defense is built to suffocate people.
It's going to be fun, man. It's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait. Thanks for the call, Tim.
You going to be on the game later?
Yeah, probably. I'll probably find my way. I see a lot of people blowing me up in the Discord to come play. So,
if you want to get a game going, just message me.
Will do. I appreciate that. Thanks, Tim. Thank you for the call. As we keep the phone lines going here for this post-game recap of Jets Commanders. Guys, feel free to call into the show. Feel free. Like I said, we'll also be playing solid clips because I have a lot of takeaways. I actually had a running Google Doc of just observations. When a player stood out to me for something, I wrote their name down, wrote a quick little note. So I just had my laptop while I was watching the game and going through and writing down notes in my notebook over here and just going through. Plus, like I said, I want to hear from Sally. He had a lot of interesting things to say, but let's bring in a guest that you guys know intimately here on the show. Let me see. Do I have a proper sounder of some kind to bring him in here? There's nothing quite that could do him justice outside of, well... For the people that tune into Boy Green Daily every morning at 7:30, we do these post-game shows 2 hours after the final whistle. That also, obviously, is of great intrigue. But another show that's in my schedule on my docket is, of course, Boy Green Meets Woody every Tuesday and Thursday at 3 o'clock. And some of you may not even realize because, it's been a long time since last season. This guy also joins us on game days to share his Woody 3 and insights. Let's bring in the James Woody.
Ooh, we in victory Saturday today, baby.
Yeah.
Thank you for the intro. Sure. I apologize for being late. It was a whole back and forth.
No, that's
with
all right.
My mother actually.
Oh God.
She said, "Oh, you watching the USA men's gold medal game?" I said,
sure,
Mom, I'm getting ready to do a podcast." She said, "How dare you turn your back on this country?" Right? I was wearing this hat. This Star Spangled Banner hat.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And she said, "Oh, you gotta respect." So I had to see Steph Curry do a lot. But before I saw Steph Curry drop all those threes, I saw the Jets. Beautiful thing.
Sure.
Beautiful thing.
Yeah.
You probably mentioned all the big ones already.
No, actually, I haven't. I haven't really gotten a chance. The only thing we've been able to do so far, and like I said, I'd like to include a couple of solid bits for some of our takes here, but I've only been able to really comment on the Adrian Martinez quarterback thing and him and Peasley doing very well. And again, I think to really get into it here, like I said, we'll also play clips too from Salah I have ready. Man, one of these guys is going to be QB3. Again, Jordan Travis, unfortunately, again, I wish it was different. I wish he was ready to play this year. From a health perspective, it sure seems like he's going to be an IR candidate this year. So complete red shirt. So he will be in the room. You'll be able to ask questions. He'll be able to do all those kinds of things, but actually playing, being in there in the preseason, being there as the QB3 on the roster, that's just not going to happen. So that means there's only two other quarterbacks, not named Aaron Rodgers and Tyrod Taylor, that would be competing for the QB3 role. And Andrew Peasley with a P and our boy Adrian Martinez. And I got to tell you, Peasley on the throw to Jason Brownlee, that was a ridiculous throw. 12-yarder, bing, boom, bam, right to Jason Brownlee. Great catch, great throw from Peasley. But Martinez, to me, was far more impressive. And they both got 4 drives. So I did some of the numbers. They each got 4 drives, and they both scored twice of their 4 drives, a touchdown, a field goal, a touchdown, and a field goal, respectively. So the race is on as far as I'm concerned for the QB3 role. Again, we have a full column down below that talks about this entire conversation and some of the play-by-play from the preseason game, which I found fascinating. But, yeah, that's really all where we've started so far, Woody. So why don't we do this? Because one of the biggest stories, I would say, from this, and we could play each clip and then kind of talk about it, is Braylon Allen. Oh, my. Braylon Allen, Killer B himself. We'll go to this clip from Robert Saleh first, and then we'll get right into it. Saleh was impressed with his rookie running back. Let's play the footage here.
We spent a lot of time, Robert, talking about Braylon throughout OTA's minicamp, seeing him flash. Was it good to see him now do it in a game too?
Yeah, I think I'll speak for the entire team. We're all excited to see him run, him and Isaiah for that matter. And Braylon didn't disappoint. When he got to the second level, it's painful to just touch the human. I mean, he is a very heavy runner, and it was really cool to see him out in the open field today.
How much ease does that give you? I mean, I know how much you guys love Brees, and the offense is going to run through him in a lot of points this year, but when he comes off the field, he needs a breather. There won't necessarily be a detriment.
Yeah, no, and I'll speak for him because I thought Izzy ran the ball well today too. So Valade ran the ball well, and but we love that running back room. It's come a long way since the first year we were here, and we feel like we've got some legitimate runners all the way across the board.
And boy, the random shade and shot thrown at the 2021 Jets running back room, apparently, saying, we've come a long way since then. Yikes. I don't think that was necessary, Saleh, but boy, Braylon Allen. And again, we'll also be taking phone calls, people, so we'll work those in between all these clips and stuff. So if you're calling in and you're waiting on the line, just wait a moment. We'll get to you. But boy, Woody, right off the top rope, though, Braylon Allen. Oh, my God.
Yeah, I definitely want to weigh in that quarterback conversation.
Yeah, we'll get back there. We'll get back there.
Yeah. But for Braylon, right?
Yeah,
I love the Izzy shout out. He's a dead man walking. It's unfortunate, but Braylon, let's talk. That's what we're trying to talk about. Sure. He definitely looked electric. I mean, good burst, and you never know. Me personally, for those of you who know me, if you don't, I will tell you, I am allergic, definitely allergic to the Jets Kool-Aid. Every year they're selling me on somebody.
Oh, I see.
Somebody else. Oh, I got to be hyped. Chris Herndon. Oh my God, look at this. I'm hyped on this. What I do is watch the game and see what I see. And today with Braylon Allen, what I saw was somebody with great burst, somebody who was picking up blitz. He was a factor blocking for his quarterback. And then catching balls out of the backfield. I mean, he did pretty much everything you would want a running back to do. So that drop off, like the question was asked to Saleh, I would have to agree, right? This is probably the lowest drop off we've seen from running back to running back in a little bit of time. The Jets have had great running games in the past, and it looks like now they have him in the present too.
I love that word from Saleh. He just almost cringed a little and said, it's painful for people to touch Braylon Allen, let alone attempt to actually tackle him to the canvas. And he had just had 2 great ones. It was an A-gap run where he just went right up the keister and just boom, he just unloaded on people. And then there was the one where I believe it was a toss sweep to the left, and then he's just a locomotive. Chuck it. He's just coming at you. You're like, if I was a defender and I played a little corner in high school, I don't know if someone with that size and that girth Yeah. What was the over under on using the term girth at a Jets post game show? You're welcome if it was the over. Like, I don't know how to tackle him, because if you go up top, he's gonna just smack you away with a stiff arm. If you try to go low, your body is going to break apart from those massive legs that he has. So I don't know how you start. It's a great problem to have, no question about it. And Justin immediately with the AO.
I mean,
Yeah,
definitely an AO was on my mind, but
which
it's
is fair enough.
Let him.
We'll get into more in just a minute, but let's go to the phone lines. Again, the phone lines are open. Feel free to call into the show, youtube.com/boygreen25. Let's go to our main squeeze. Tommy joins us here on the program. What's up, Tommy?
Boy Green, Woody, how are you guys doing?
Excellent, man. Great to see you, pal.
Is the volume okay?
Yeah, volume sounds great. Superb.
Okay. Yo, I love the way that we played today, man. It was awesome. Like seeing Braylon Allen put his head down and run through two defensive players on his run was like, it's amazing, because we already have Breece Hall. You know what I mean? Like, having Braylon Allen, it's just like a security blanket, knowing that he's going to dominate. Like, he's going to be fine. And I like Isaiah Davis, too. He did a really good job. Tyrod Taylor did a great job today. And I'm really impressed with Adrian Martinez, man. He stepped it up big time. And did you see his conversation, like his Jets talk after like the game, the preseason?
No, I've not caught
like
up on that. The only thing I got to see was I wrote a column, and then I did the Saleh full presser, and then wrote a column. So no, I've not heard any of the player sound yet.
Yeah, he speaks like he's straight from Harvard. Like, he's a straight, like, real guy, and cool. Very intelligent. He's gonna take everything from Aaron Rodgers that he can get. And I hope he is our number 3. I know Peasley had a nice throw to
he did.
Jason Brownlee. I know he did.
Very nice. Yeah,
I know he did. But Adrian Martinez, just look at his college stats. That's why I would want him as our number 3. Like, he won like forgot what he won, but he won some.
He was a beast in college. He had like nearly 3,000 yards rushing in college. Like, he's a dual threat by every sense of the word. Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, and just to like be real quick, I guess sure. About it. I think Corley had a good day. You could see the way that he runs through people. I want him as our slot. I know we got Mike Evans coming back. And I guess the last point I really just want to touch on is I can't wait to see Jamian Sherwood out there as our middle linebacker. Yeah. Like, that guy's ready to the ball. He's ready to ball. And I can't wait for this year, guys. Jets. And you guys have a great night, okay?
All right, beautiful. Tommy, thanks for calling in, brother. He's great. My only thing for Isaiah Davis is my brother. Can we get some new cleats, man? Slipping and sliding all over the place, like running, catching, returning, all of it.
Returning, yeah.
My man, I get people say what they say about the MetLife turf, but no one else was slipping and sliding the way Isaiah Davis was. Not sure if he hit the Butterfinger shack before he came out there, or what was happening. It was or Butterfoot. It wasn't the hands that was the issue, which, by the way, was very nice. At first, he was slipping and sliding all over the place. You're kind of like, oh boy, because like the vibes were good. Braylon, boom, boom, boom. Isaiah comes in. We're like, okay, the first rookie looked really good. Second rookie, and he was kind of sliding and not really doing anything. And then he had a great route out of the backfield where he came up, grab and go, and he was shooting up the field. That looked spectacular. And before we get to other stuff, Woody, because again, we're going to go through a lot, but I want to make sure we go back to quarterback so you can share your perspective on that, because we've got a lot of other places to go coming off this preseason game. Great takeaways. Again, phone lines are open, but quarterback, man, Peasley, Martinez, both look really good. Martinez, obviously, incredibly impressive. And man, I think I told you guys before, this morning, he is going to be our Chris Strevler with a better arm, and he's going to win us games, and we're going to get all hyped up for him, and we'll see what that matters. What was your take on the quarterbacks?
I mean, that crystal ball, you might have to put that in the Hall of Fame. I'm not even going to lie. I wasn't even too impressed from Tyrod today. Not to say that, his stock is down or anything like that. But, watching the game, the offense moved most once the other QBs came in. I like Peasley coming in. I thought, he was making good reads, making good throws. The throw to Brownlee obviously was a beaut. The timing on that was perfect.
Terrific.
But Adrian Martinez, what we seen to me was almost like a blank canvas that you could just paint any which way. The boy, what he was able to accomplish on schedule and off schedule was incredible. There was that bad snap, right? That could have been right, a huge
terrible.
Loss. Yeah, and what he's able to do. So that's, I think, that's a quality that GMs love, right? That I think that was a big reason why they were so high on Zach. But everything for him ended up becoming off schedule. Adrian Martinez, on schedule, off schedule. He was making accurate throws, which, like you said, Strevler with a better arm. Strevler, he was throwing ducks, man. Every we're just luckily catching those. But Martinez was throwing buttes. Even I can't remember who dropped it, but that was a beautiful throw with that Adrian Martinez had.
Oh, yes.
20-yarder, perfect spiral. We saw it. Like I saw
Lance McCutcheon. That was his name. And oh my God, how many did he miss? And I'm like, dude, give me a break, man. Like, he's hitting you right in the numbers. And if you want to be a guy on this team, you're doing the complete. If you went, what's the how-to guide on how to make the roster? He's like, geez, I got the how-to not make the roster. You got the wrong book, and he was reading the wrong thing. Like, come on, man.
So I would say overall, I like Peasley. If I'm gonna make a comparison, I'm gonna say, Mike White, just hitting throws accurately. We're doing his thing. But when things get off schedule, when you need to run, what happened to Mike White? He broke his ribs, right? The boy can't run. Right, that's Peasley. Wow. Adrian Martinez,
okay,
he has legs and he's quick. How he ran for that first down, right?
On the third down. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because when he was rolling, like, you kind of like squinted sideways. You're like, can he beat the defense because they have the angle? And he almost went. It was almost like you're playing Madden. You're like, doot, 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 doot. And he went, oh, I need to speed it up. Hold down the R2 button. Turbo went, and I was like, whoa. I was like, damn, he got around the edge. And it was a key. It was around the 2-minute warning. It was a key third down conversion. If they don't get that, they got to kick the field goal. And then they're going to leave time for Washington. Exactly. And he got around. I'm like, damn, they're going to be able to milk this clock down and make some big boy decisions here. So 1,000%. Damn, man. Martinez was always the bigger name. Again, if you look at college careers to Peasley, but man, what he's showing, I'm like, this is just incredibly tantalizing. It's a rallying cry. Again, we have Aaron Rodgers, and we got Tyrod Taylor, and I'll mention Tyrod in a second before we get to some noise as he super chats and memberships. We'll get to those in a second. But that's the thing that really, for me, was like, okay.
Definitely.
Very nice.
Those wheels.
Yeah, they were good too. And again, here's the thing from college on Martinez real quick. His passing was always he was, again, that's why a lot of people said Strevler, beep boop bop. Like, he had some Strevler qualities from a passing perspective. You really analyze some of the collegiate stats. Now, he made some leaps and bounds. If you look at the UFL numbers of this in between, which was like December to right before training camps and stuff, was a UFL season, right in that gap of winter, springtime. And he made dramatic improvements from his passing if you watch those games. But from a college, you're like, ooh. And then when he hit a couple of these dots, you're like, okay. We see what we're doing now. And to your point, Tyrod, which we got exactly the Tyrod I was expecting. And what I mean by that is in terms of how much he played. 2 drives. That's what I thought they were going to give him. 2 drives, roll out. Let's kind of figure out what's going to happen there. Now, there's some pre-snap penalties that put him behind. Tyrod ran into a sack, which was the only sack given up by the Jets offensive line during the day. So Saleh said it after the game. He called it a wash based on all the mistakes and issues. So like, it's not great. It's not terrible. It's whatever. It's very meh. And that's how it was for me so far. But again, 2 drives for Tyrod, and maybe you'll get a few more coming up in the other game. All right, let's get to a couple of things here. First off, a super chat from the OG, the legend, Jake Asman, which the question from Jake Asman: did Boy Green make sweet and passionate love after the game today to his fiance? The people need to know. Well, Jake, because you asked, what's the proper word to use here? I failed to report that no lovemaking took place, but there is good news. There are 3 preseason games, my friend, and we're just a third of the way through. And the problem with this particular preseason game of choice, I enjoyed what I'm about to say. Wink. I enjoyed what I'm about to say here. This preseason game was at noon. Like, that's before any game normally starts on the East Coast. Most games, the earliest is 1 o'clock. So this was noon. This was phenomenal. I'm in the middle of a post-game show at 5:42, and that is considering it was 2 hours after the final whistle. So I'm a later post-game show than most other Jets content creator shows. Most people go right after the bell, and we're talking about 5:43. That is a very respectable time. I'm going to have dinner, not quite Charles Gorman dinner at 4 o'clock at night, but I'm going to have a respectable dinner in the 6:30, 7 o'clock range, perhaps, which is not too shabby. So that's okay. But the other 2 preseason games, I looked at the time, 7 o'clock, 7:30. 3, 4 hours, 10, 10:30, 11, doing some of my work. That sounds like some sweet, passionate lovemaking time is available. Now, will it be offered? I don't know. I guess it's going to depend on my actions, probably leading into the week. Am I doing the right things? Am I doing the right preparation before the game? Those questions are key. But boy, if you had to kind of check the weather, check the temperature, check the possibilities out there in the universe, I'd say, it's if we're talking about the weather report, a little cloudy, but there's some possibility, partly cloudy, but there's a chance, there's a path, if you see the light at the end of the tunnel, that there may be some lovemaking in my future. But of course, it takes 2 to tango. It's not just a one-sided street. I don't just decide lovemaking happening, baby. It's a quarterback wide receiver connection. I can throw the ball, but Lance McCutcheon could drop it. You know what I mean? So we're gonna need effort on both sides. We'll see what happens, Jake. But I appreciate the question. It was a pressing question. I'm sure a lot of people were thinking about.
Definitely. Prayers up. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Hopefully 4 plays on the forecast.
That's true. All right, baby. Membership time. Let's roll. Shout out here to Joseph Webb, a member himself of the Boy Green Coffee Club, is spreading the love, especially coming off Jake Asman's question. We're spreading a lot of love here. 5 memberships to the Boy Green Coffee Club. Beautiful. Let's give a shout out to 5 new members here. That is DKL, who's been giving a lot of super chats himself recently. We appreciate you. SO_NY17, Lou Rodriguez, Marty McFly 0292, and Alex Levine. You are all now members of the Boy Green Coffee Club, baby. I love it. And we're celebrating. This is and I started the show with sort of a joke, sort of not, that, this is a preseason game. We shouldn't overreact to all this, but, with all due respect, this was the first step on the Jets Super Bowl train, baby. So I am all kinds of elated and excited for all of that jazz. The freaky, perhaps, I don't know where King Lowski is right now. My freaky may need to be calmed down. It certainly is calmed down for today since no freaky was taking place. So thank you. And I see OG Jet fan jumping in here. Boy Green, blessing and success on the new baby arriving. Love you, brother. Yeah, November is that time. So that is great. And also good news. We had a Swedish doctor we had to visit. And one of the big questions on my mind was, for those who don't know, this is really deep. We should probably just get back absolutely to normal football. Oh, King Lowski is actually in here, who said, keep yo freaky. So you're not going to love this, King Lowski. You're probably going to have to scream about keeping this freaky in place. But there's this thing when women are pregnant that you're occasionally on this thing called pelvic rest, which basically means no freaky time is allowed because of certain things in the baby creation process. But then we saw the Swedish doctor, and I can't do an accent of the Swedish doctor, but he was just like, you can do that's not Swedish at all, but whatever he says, like the pelvic rest is over. That sounds like
Borat. You're not doing Borat.
What's happening there? Anywho, he just says that the pelvic rest is over. Like, you guys can go to town. And I'm like, oh, phenomenal. But then, like, my fiance is seeking other opinions. She's like, are we sure? Is this, what's going on here? So then it all just, went all over the place. Anywho, long story short, Paul is keeping the freaky down. That's it. So yeah, a Swedish chef could be, if there's any relation. I am uncertain of that reality. Anywho, let's get back to business here. Again, guys, 235 people in the room. We appreciate you. Like the video, hit subscribe, and we'll get this party started. Now, Woody, another area I would like to go is right before the game, 30 minutes before, 45 minutes before, the Jets send out a tweet. And the tweet said, here are the list of players that are unlikely to participate today. Because, again, the Jets coaches, I suppose, could make any decision after they send that tweet, and some of them could have. But what I did is I pulled up their tweet and their article, and then I pulled up the unofficial Jets depth chart, and I was curious how many starters, quote unquote, are going to be playing in this game, because they just told us who everyone's that's not playing. And I know the depth chart because they tweeted it out. And so I'm like, and I'm comparing, contrasting, taking notes. And there was only 2 starters on the unofficial depth chart that suited up for this game today, Woody. One, you can kind of look at sideways and say, Paul, shut up. Like, he's not really a starter. But he is, according to the unofficial depth chart, that's Michael Clemens, who is starting in place of Hassan Reddick. But I think we can all agree that by the time the season gets here, he's not going to be a full-time starter. So let's put him aside. That means there was only one starter that played for the New York Jets in this game, and that was Joe Tippmann. Everyone else was a backup. Everyone else who, and I'm even talking about the double starters, which we talked about before, where you were doing, speaking of pelvic, you were doing pelvic thrust about, Jeremy Ruckert starter. Yeah. And
my pelvis was perfectly still.
Okay, I'll take your word for that. But he wasn't even in this game. So even on that unofficial depth chart, which, by the way, has full starters like Jamian Sherwood and Michael Carter, they wouldn't both be on the field at the same time. So like it expands it out. So there's 12 players in all the different alignments and different personnel and stuff. So like Jamian Sherwood didn't play. Jeremy Ruckert didn't play. None of the starters in any combination. Michael Carter the second didn't. Obviously, he's recovering from an injury. All of that. Only one starter played in the game, and that was Joe Tippmann. Saleh was asked after the game, is that because of the snapping issues? Is that like the reason that Joe Tippmann was literally, the only starter that played in the game today? Saleh said no, but then it sounded like he kind of contradicted himself. Anywho, here's the quick answer from Saleh on the Joe Tippmann thing.
Playing Tippmann today, Robert, was that because of the snaps that we've seen the first couple weeks here?
No, just young, obviously second-year kid. Just trying to let him work through some kinks that he needs to work out. Also with Tyrod in there, just wanted him to mirror Tyrod's snap count.
I would assume the working out the kinks, unless we're talking about calming someone's freaky down, was the snapping issues for Joe Tippmann. So, like, he said no, but then said, yeah, he has to work out some kinks, the kinks being the snapping issues. I don't know why he said no to that question, but that's neither here nor there. We all know Saleh at the press conference could sometimes give us weird stuff, but the good news is, so Joe Tippmann was the only starter. Kind of curious your thoughts on that, Woody, that every other starter got the day off outside of Tippmann. And then number 2, that there was no high snaps from Tippmann. It all worked out. There seemed to be a combination of things, both shotgun snaps and regular snaps to Tyrod. I think he was in there for those first 2 drives. No issues, and he was fine. So what do you make of Saleh making him the only starter that played today? And then number 2, that the results ended up being good.
He is a second-year player, so I think this might be a little, molehill being made into a mountain. Who else from that draft class sat out of this game? So I think Joe deserved the reps. The kinks, I also think that is a leap. I think it's a leap to say that the kinks that Saleh was referring to is the snapping. I mean, you're not in the room. We're not in the room. We're not privy to, the different ins and outs of the position that they may feel like Joe needs some help with. Obviously, what's obvious to us, right? But we can all see as laymen are, this snap is high. This snap is high. But there are technique issues that they wanted him to, in real time, in real game situation, work on. And the point with Tyrod is also very valid, right? Tyrod is a very important piece of this equation.
Sure.
He goes down, we're all going to be sweating. So if we put him out there on the field, you would want your starting center out there, especially a young guy. So I'm the first one to say that Saleh is just talking nonsense. He's not saying nothing. I think that answer was very valid. 3 very logical reasons why he should be out there. Young second-year player, protect our golden quarterback too, that we've needed a quarterback too for the last 10 straight years, and working on kinks that we don't necessarily know. Like I said, it's obvious to us that snapping has been an issue, but there are other technique things that maybe they have talked about that we don't know about. So With that being said, no snap issues. How many snaps did Tyrod have in shotgun? Because that was specifically.
I will have to get to an advanced level to see that. I can only see basic stats, so I only knew Tyrod was in for 2 drives. I would have to get, because we're just doing this so soon after the game. I'd have to go back to the tape and literally watch each of his drives to know. So I'm not sure, but he did have some opportunities.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure because I remember I watched the first drive and I thought to myself, okay, and I don't think he was in shotgun.
Okay, here's so I have it right here, actually. Shout out to ESPN play-by-play. He had 2 shotgun snaps on the first opening drive of the game to Tyrod Taylor. That was on a 2nd and 9 at 7:43 remaining in the first quarter, and also 3rd and 9, 7:38 remaining in the first quarter. So he got it. Let me correct myself again. So he had 3 shotgun snaps in the opening drive of the game. It was 2nd and 9, 3rd and 9, and 3rd and 14 because there was penalties on the drive. So he had 3 shotgun opportunities on the first drive and 1 second. I could give it to you on the second one as well. So he had 4 shotgun snaps during the game. There's more shotgun snaps than regular snaps for him.
All right. Well,
so shut your mouth, Woody.
What?
I said, so shut your mouth. You made it seem like there's no shotgun snaps. I'll say this because I was wrong about something. So, this will be a great back and forth. One, you were absolutely right. Every member of the 2023 New York Jets draft class was involved in this game. So tip of the cap. That's true. Again, he was the only starter, which is kind of interesting, but still that the entire draft class played. So I'll take a step back and say, yep, very nice, Woody. But it looks like you got a lot more shotgun snaps than you thought.
I mean, 4, but yes. So
4 of 2 drives. Let me. I will count it up since. Let's see.
Oh my God, you just brought boxing gloves today. Okay. All I'm saying is that yes, Tippmann, he did not have any high snaps. That is good. I don't think this is too much of a story. And I think that it's a good
out of 4 passing plays, he had 4 shotgun snaps. Every pass that he had was a shotgun snap, according to ESPN.
Yeah, that doesn't change the number of
2 drives.
Which I said it's 4. I mean, yeah, so 4. That's good. But
real quick, let's just wash this out real quick. Snaps. Yeah, okay. Joe Tippmann was in there. You say for kinks that are beyond the snapping. Okay, maybe that's true, but the most obvious one is snapping. And then you say, well, he didn't really have a lot of shotgun snaps. Literally all, according to ESPN, all of the passing snaps they had were all shotgun. So they were all working on the thing that apparently he had a big issue with. I'm just saying it seems weird that you're saying, well, there's not enough of a sample size. Well, that was the only sample size that we had. And literally every opportunity that he could have was shotgun. So I'm just saying we should give a tip of the cap to Tippmann for, performing well.
Do you see my is my cap?
There was no cap. There's no, all cap, no cap. You got to work on that line because there was some cap going on there. Yeah. Anywho, yes, go ahead.
No, that's what I was saying. I was tipping my cap. That was the end of my sentence. That I think Saleh was valid on all 3 points that he made, and Tippmann looked decent in his opportunities.
Yeah, the only thing I guess again, I don't want to make this a big deal because it's not a big deal. And again,
you Holmes are trying to make it a big deal, but keep going.
Okay. Yoham says ESPN wrong, and they could be wrong because I thought I remembered a snap where Tyrod was straight under center, but that's the only thing I can use live after a game. I don't have time.
But now you're trying to make me. Oh my God.
No. You just said that he had wait a second.
But now you're throwing me under the bus. It's
crazy. Okay. I'm being as very transparent as I can be. Okay. I'm saying that
you being as transparent as this wall behind me, completely opaque.
Okay. Opaque. I'm being as clear as possible. After the game, I go 2 hours live after the game. My full schedule is this. As soon as the game is over, I make a score graphic. That goes up on the Heavy on Jets Facebook page. As soon as that's over, I start writing an article. That goes up on the Facebook page. I set up a live stream for the show. That goes up on the page. And then we do the show. So I have no time to go play-by-play through the game. I could only watch it and then read it, and then have an ESPN play-by thing for me in front of me that tells me whether or not it was a shotgun snap or not. So that's all I can base it off of. Again, if this show was tomorrow morning, I would have rewatched the game already and seen every play-by-play. but you seem to be marginalizing the fact that Joe Tippmann only had a handful of shotgun snaps when ESPN seemed to indicate that he had all shotgun snaps from the passing plays, which I'm just saying, again, tip of the cap to Tippmann. It was limited, but it's only 2 drives. I can't base it off a full game. If he didn't play a full game, I can only base it off of what happened. And what happened is apparently it was it. So that's all I'm saying. Here, there, everywhere. So I'm just saying we shouldn't blow it up. And to be honest, if we're going to blow it up, Saleh is the one that's doing one of those Aaron Rodgers thing where he says, I'm not, and I don't want to get into this conversation. I'm not immunized. I am this, where he's cutting the line. Saleh's saying it's not those kinks. It's different kinks, but it was clearly the kink that is snapping. That's what I'm saying. We're going down a weird road on a preseason opener, but the fact of the matter is that was one of the big kinks he was working on. That was clearly the reason that it was in the game, but Saleh can't say that publicly.
It's not clear. It's not clear.
It's not clear that Tippmann has had snapping issues this entire time, and he's the only starter of 24 starters on the team that was in. Come on, Woody.
Yeah, because he's with his classmates. He's a second-year player. Why
it's not classmates. It's starter. None of the others are starters. Not one.
It's
no one else is starters. There are 24 to the 53 players.
No other sophomore is getting sat out. Simple as that.
24 of the 53 players on the team are designated starters on the Jets depth chart. One of 24. It's not my fault that Will McDonald's not a starter. It's not my fault Carter Warren's not a starter and Izzy's not a starter. It's not my fault. They didn't. They're not. They did not live up to it, so they're not starters. Joe Tippmann was the only starter out of 24 possible players that were starting. What do you mean?
I know. I see. We got a Venn diagram going on. Venn diagram. He happens to be a starter and a sophomore player. But the fact is, all sophomore players played. He's a sophomore player. Boom. There you have it. Case closed.
But none of the others are starters. That's what I'm saying. He was out there because he had snapping issues. And again, it's fine. Work through them. That's what the preseason's for. Work through the issues and the kinks and everything else that he has. Because again, I wasn't worried about it when we were doing random Boy Green meets Woody shows, though the last couple of weeks when the snapping issues happened. I got no problems with it. Let's work through the problems. Let's work through them. Right. We need to work through our problems. I mean, we need somebody for that. A player that you already mentioned here, Woody, and we had it from our caller. Shout out to Tommy, and maybe Tim from Fishland also said this one. Malachi Corley, who I thought there was good and bad, and we could get into that in just a second. Let's play the first clip here from Saleh talking about Corley, and there's a lot of positive to talk about Malachi Corley from his preseason debut against the Washington Commanders. Here's Saleh after the game.
What were your thoughts on Corley today?
He did a couple of the kick return. I thought he did a really nice job in the kick return game, punt return game. Obviously, he had a chance to field that one. Just forgive me, I'm going to go through recall here. He's got to be able to get that, catch that one when they let land. And then in the pass game, you can see when he touched the ball, he is a heavy runner and a very violent runner. Really excited to get him more opportunities moving forward. And but he's definitely going to be a big part of the offense.
Okay, let's start with the wow comments from Saleh there. Definitely will be a big part of the offense, and then the heavy runner, violent runner, all those things, all of that is terrific. That all part is good. And then, again, that crazy play where I don't think you were on with us yet, Woody. We talked about it on the show already, but Zach Kuntz had the ball flopped away from him. Malachi Corley catches it, right before it touches the turf and starts breaking like a million tackles, Yak King, and does crazy stuff. That was cool. He also, it's worth noting, he was the lead returner both for kick and punt. Xavier Gibson was one of the million players we talked about that did not start in this game. He also had an injury this week, so I didn't expect him to play necessarily, but so that's one of the reasons that Corley got even more action, obviously in kick and punt, because X would have had that if he was playing in the game. But seeing him in that light, very interesting. I love what I saw from the kick return. He had that wonderful, I don't know the yardage on the kick return, but it was great. He broke down the right hash. Wonderful. Very solid return. It was somewhere in the 30-ish yard range, it looked like, is where it was. The punt, again, that's something he's going to have to learn, because if X is ever out for some significant period of time, and maybe eventually, no matter whether he's out or not, Corley will eventually take that role from him. He's got to be a little bit better. We saw some mistakes from Braxton Berrios at the end of his Jets tenure on whether to let a ball hit the ground and then you're going to figure out what you're going to do with it or just catch it. He should have caught it on a punt return and it stumbled back. He grabbed it and then got tackled. That's injury opportunities and also just head smart. So punt return, he's got to work on a little bit there. But it was 99% good what we saw from Corley today. You could see the flashes that obviously the team saw.
Yeah, I definitely saw flashes. Corley, I feel like I'm feeling pretty secure with Gibson as a starting slot.
Okay.
Right. Corley, I think that's somebody that can be worked in, some of the gadget things. We saw one, I want to say that 3rd and 14 that we were just talking about was a play to Corley. Where my man was running east-west. He got to know that, north and south exist as well. And I think that was the case a little bit. It was a little bit of little dancing. Mm-hmm. And that worked on the kick returns, actually, right? Because there's more space. But in the passing game, I don't think that worked as well. That Kuntz play that you mentioned was a broken play, heads-up play that he made. But everything after that catch, was kind of a broken play. The very next play after that, he dropped a ball that hit him in the hands. I know he had to extend for it. But I think it was good. Like you said, it was flashes, right? That's what we want to see is flashes.
Sure.
But I can't sit here and say that he had a fantastic game the way that I can say that about some other players. I would probably, if I'm making a list of people who had the best games for the team, he would not make my top 5.
By the way, this is good. I forgot to mention this in the Martinez thing. If I'm going to be honest, I'm a Jets content creator. Woody, you're a Jets content creator. It's our job to know this team intimately. I had no idea who the hell Brandon Smith was. I'm going to be honest. I had no idea who the hell this was. So when 87 is making plays, I'm like, oh, cool. Lavernius Coles' his number. Nice. But he had both the two wow things from Adrian Martinez, which makes sense because if you really think about it chemistry-wise, right? Who is Adrian Martinez as QB4, which technically is what he's listed at? You have Rodgers, you have Tyrod, you have Peasley, and then him. That's how the quarterback run currently operates. So it would make sense that Martinez, is vibing with a guy like Brendan Smith, who's at the bottom end of the roster. Those are two guys that are practicing with each other all the time. So it makes sense that they made some of these big plays. But the 37-yard rope that just a friggin' insane throw was the 37-yarder. And then the one where pressure's around him, he's like, oh, shoot. I'm rolling out the pocket. See you, suckers. Keeps his eyes downfield and boom, hits a 33-yarder diving Brandon Smith catch. Again, I'm trying to be honest here on the show. I had no idea who the hell Brandon Smith was, but those are great moments for the young man, both more likely from a practice squad perspective, but it's awesome to see. So, again, I know we're talking Corley here, but I just saw the comment. I want to make sure we don't miss Brandon Smith on the other side. Again, Corley, there's a lot to like. Again, there's some things certainly to work on, and we'll see. Yeah, I saw, which is kind of an ode to what Saleh said at the end there, where he's going to be a big part of the offense. Saleh said about Corley, those are orchestrated touches. The play is snap the ball and immediately throw it to Corley, and let's get some blockers in front of him and see kind of what happens. So, yeah, there's a lot of east to west there. I don't think he had an opportunity north-south because of all the pressure that was kind of around in the pop screen immediately. So he started to go to east-west, but that is in general sense. I saw Rich Samini tweet about it too. You do need to avoid east-west goes north-south. That was a solid criticism of Breece Hall when he initially came into the league because there's a lot of He's like, geez, dude, plant your foot in the ground and just go. So there is a learning process for some of those younger players. Anything on Brandon Smith here you want to share?
You said, you came in here not knowing anything about him. I still don't know anything about him. I know that he makes some great plays. If I'm him or anybody in his family, I would be immensely proud, right? Very, very proud of the work that he put in. I know now people are going to be talking about, kick Lazard off, get Brandon Smith on the team or, find a way to get him on the team. I think he is too far down the rung. guys above, Irv Charles, Malik Taylor.
Honesty. Yes, right.
Yeah,
Despite what he continues to do, probably, again, unless he does this every preseason game, and even then, that doesn't guarantee it. Think about
he needs to score. He needs to be Victor Cruz. He needs to start getting like
exactly
3 TDs. Yeah,
right. And think about this. Even in the Chris Streveler stuff, where we're all going crazy, he had a favorite wide receiver, and I'm going to be honest, I can't even remember his name. That's the point. He was catching every touchdown, whoever that was. If someone could get trivia and remember who the hell was the guy catching like every touchdown pass from Chris Streveler and all those game winners, I remember the Eagles. I remember the Giants. I think he caught all of those. So if I get a
caught one, like he caught a game winner. I think
that was the Eagles one, and that was, I believe, oh my God, who's the quarterback? James Morgan. He, I believe, is the one that threw that to Kenny Yeboah at the end of a preseason game. But if someone does remember, we can easily look that up very quickly. But that would be one for sure to bring up. So again, it's just honesty. Shout out to Brandon Smith. Those were awesome plays. The diving catch was beautiful, and even the rainbow throw, which was right on the money. I mean, obviously he's got to catch it. So that's something else as well to highlight and work out there. And someone else, it's a shame, quite frankly, that we're 54 minutes into this and that we haven't given this guy his proper flowers. And I love the surprise players. Like, okay, hey, Paul, Braylon Allen was awesome. Okay, I was hoping and thinking he was going to be awesome. But Jarek Bernard Converse, JBC, to me, was an outstanding player in this game. And he did give up a go-go ball immediately. That was Jaden Daniels' first completion on 3rd and long. I mean, he gave up an absolute, it might have been a 45-yarder right down the back. And he had great coverage. Those are one of those ones where you just go, damn. Well, okay. You just shake his hand and say, damn, that's a good catch, good throw, man. Perfect defense, couldn't stop it. That, to me, was spectacular. But we're going to play a clip from Saleh here who said sometimes in those moments, someone gets dogged immediately. You're like, oh, boy. Like all of a sudden you start turtling in. You're like, boy, this is embarrassing. This is my moment, especially for a guy like JBC, where is he going to make the roster? I don't think it's a lock in any way. He could totally get cut. Maybe there's an outside chance he makes it if he continues to impress as maybe that 6th corner, but you have to love what you see. So let's go to this clip from Sal after the game, and he says a little bit of what I just said, that he was just super impressed how he bounced back from that opening moment there against Jaden Daniels. Here's a clip.
JBC and Stiggers. JBC gave up that early one.
Yeah,
he really responded. And what does that say to you when a kid gives up one and comes back like that? And then Stiggers continues to be active. We saw that.
No, for sure. He's JBC. That might be the coolest one from a defensive perspective, because he did get hit on that go ball, and it's very easy to tank and to get in your own head and play scared. And he still played chest to chest. He still played tight coverage. He was still playing his press technique and made a lot of plays on the ball. I don't think he gave another one, if I'm not mistaken. But really, really proud of JBC and the way he bounced back off of that go ball.
He must have had like a big ass target on his back, because like seemingly every passing play from Macho is, where the hell's Jarek Bernard Converse? There it is. And every play I'm just seeing 29. I'm like, geez, Alou, good Lord. I mean, that seemed like a lot.
Yeah, I definitely. I'm not sure if I'm putting him in the esteem that you put him in.
Oh, you're not putting him in the
preseason Hall of Fame? The reason why he was getting targeted.
And one second, Woody, go ahead and keep telling us about JBC. I just have to just do something real quick. I'll be right back.
All right. Well, here it is. The JBC roast. No, it's not a roast, but yeah, I feel like there was a reason why he was getting targeted. It worked out in their favor a lot of times, and other times there were just drops that he would then celebrate, which is one of my biggest pet peeves. If you are a DB and you actually make a play on the ball, you pass up, you break up the pass, definitely celebrate, let the world know like what you just did. And that's something we see Sauce do all the time. But JBC, to have somebody just drop the ball and then you out here talking about,
I love that. As a DB, I love it. You just go like, oh yeah, baby, incomplete. It's phenomenal.
It's yeah. So I didn't I wasn't too big of a fan. Now I'm not saying he was trash. He definitely wasn't trash.
All right.
But he also would not make my top 5.
Wow.
I don't know if you have a clip on this player, but there's definitely somebody who I would like to acknowledge.
Okay, tell me who it is. I'll tell you if I have a clip on him.
All right. Well, you know me. I'm always talking about the trench warfare. I love trench warfare. Do you have a guess based on what I just said so far?
LT3?
LT3,
Okay.
baby.
All right, let's. I actually am. I do have a clip ready, and this is one of the last ones. This is why I was a few minutes late to my own show. I'm like, "Ooh, I gotta get this one. Ooh, I gotta get this one." When I listen to a solid press conference, I take notes. I'm like, "Ooh, we got to talk about that play. Ooh, we got to talk about that play." Like every answer almost in the press, I was like, "Ooh, ooh, ah." LT3, baby, Leonard Taylor III, the undrafted free agent from Miami. He was making plays, baby. Let's get this one up. This is Saleh after the game talking about him and saying all the kinds of right things about Leonard Taylor III and his chances of making this rush. So let's roll the clip.
Taylor had a couple TFLs and sack late. Is the key for a young kid like that to build on a performance like
Just
this?
keep building. You know, he's come on strong as of late, especially the last week or so. You know, he's going to have 2 more opportunities to put on some good tape, not just in the game, but his practice habits. All of it has been, like I said, it's been trending upward. And, you know, the key for all these young guys is to not get complacent with a little bit of success, but to step on the gas and continue going.
And before we throw it over to you, Woody, I think that part is a very important piece to this puzzle on Leonard Taylor III. He's a guy that a lot of people kind of complained about early in camp saying, where's this Leonard Taylor III guy? Thought he was supposed to be making noise, all this hype that he could have been, you know, a year or two ago, a first-round draft choice. What happened? To hear Saleh say, oh, the arrow's been pointing up the last couple of weeks, despite like the last week and a half, whatever he said about like all of a sudden now, like things seem to be clicking for him. 100% he deserves to be mentioned. A great sack and a huge TFL play.
Yeah, I mean that was clutch. I actually feel like that is the reason why the Jets won this game, right?
Yeah,
is that
big play.
he got them off the field at that time. So that was a huge sack by LT3. You know, we live in a world where, you know, it's a microwave world. You know, that's what my cousin always says, right? You want something done, you know, now, right?
Oh,
it's
yeah,
now,
right?
You know, a lot of good things are made in the oven. Right, a lot of good things. You know, you slow cook these ribs, baby, but now you want to put it in the microwave 30 seconds, you know, and now it's cold in the middle. And now you complain, right, that the product is not ready because you rushed it out. If LT3 is slow cook, right? If he's a brisket, then okay, let's do it. We will all enjoy when the time is ready. And to see so early in his young career him make, you know, plays like that. I don't care what string it is. He made plays, right? You put someone in front of him, and he brought them to the turf. I think you know, it's something to be really excited about. And coming into the offseason, we really didn't know who that second defensive tackle was next to Quinnen. Obviously, you know, Javon Kinlaw seems to have wrapped that up, but it was a pretty wide open, right? It was pretty open. So to see Taylor climb up the ranks in a couple of years, we might be looking at our next, you know, Bryce Huff undrafted guy who we're now hoping we can retain. But the Eagles, you know, out here making deals. I think Leonard Taylor III, I'd be really excited if I was him. You know, anybody in his family right now. He played great.
Yeah, he's got a lot of talent. Again, shout out to the 300 people live in the room right now. Make sure you guys like the video, hit subscribe. The phone lines are also open if you guys would like to call in. Super chats, memberships, all that's welcome, baby. Let's continue to celebrate. We got a few more players we'll highlight, and then we'll sign off and see you tomorrow morning for Boy Green Daily. And let's go to this. Big deal, no deal. And no, I'm not going to bring back up Joe Tippmann and starters in 2023 and things of that nature. I think we beat that like a dead horse. But something else is the pre-snap penalties. And I thought in the middle of the game when I saw several of them, I'm like, someone's going to ask this in the postgame. It was our boy Nick Faria who asked Saleh about the pre-snap penalties. And basically, again, I'm kind of saying his question that he's going to ask here in a second, but sometimes I don't know if you guys can hear the reporters talking because it's so quiet to Saleh at the podium. So I'll share it as well. That is this a big deal? Was this just a preseason game first nerves? Like you have to just kind of eye roll at any penalties that kind of happen here because everyone's freaking out. Like I saw Olu. We'll get to Olu, which like on his first one was going like you could kind of see him going, oh geez, I'm so sorry. Like he was just so fired up. You could kind of see it on his face when we had the camera shot across. Like he was so like let's go. And I was like, whoa, easy, young buck, easy fella. But is it just that, or is it something to pay attention to since, as Nick Faria noted, the Jets were the most penalized team in football last year? Here's Saleh answering that very question about all the penalties that we saw. Here you go.
There were a few pre-snap penalties early on in the game. Obviously, you guys have been focusing on cutting those down. You're the most penalized team last year.
where does the team go from here? Do you just chalk it up to nerves in the first preseason game, or is there something more that you guys can do?
We're always gonna stress it. Obviously, I'd love to chalk it up to first game nerves, but it's something we'll definitely keep an eye on.
So, all right, so I turn it over to you, Woody, after hearing that very answer. Is it much ado about nothing or something to keep an eye on?
Definitely something to keep an eye on. Penalties are so annoying. Seeing them penalized. Now, I won't lie. When because I dug deep into one of my tabs, right? Your bookmarks, your tabs on your browser, is actually NFLpenalties.com. That just has a list of all the penalties. It's actually a great breakdown, like by the penalties themselves, by the teams, players. So that's how I know what's going on. And the thing that I used to pick on them for was all the unnecessary roughness, the late hits, the roughing the passer. I mean, it was 2 years ago or last year. 2 years ago. It was definitely 2 years ago because Zach was the starter.
JFM.
Quincy kills Jalen Hurts.
Preseason.
Oh my God. I mean, and JFM obviously, he's done it in the regular season. He's done it preseason. He done it, everywhere but the postseason because he hasn't been there as a Jet. But so that's what I was picking at. And there was a roughing the passer, even though I think that was a questionable call. Will McDonald did his patented spin move, got to the quarterback. He was able to get it out. I thought that was fair. But, refs are trying to protect these guys. For the offense and these pre-snap penalties, I think, that is something to keep an eye on. I'm hoping with, Rodgers and his cadence and those guys that they'll be, better prepared. I mean, we even saw, or I don't know if you guys were, tuned in, but there were some times where Adrian Martinez had to be like, yo, you're on the wrong side. Like he was directing traffic.
Yeah, he was the maestro.
Definitely. So, I mean, that's going to happen with all these new guys learning new things.
And backup players and stuff. Yeah, right.
But I hope with Rodgers, running the show, those guys, he's getting those guys locked in, the first string guys locked in. We hope that's not a problem, but definitely worth keeping an eye on.
Yeah, I agree. Keep an eye on it. I can't totally dismiss it. They led the league in penalties last year. I mean, I'd be ridiculous to say, just preseason. But I mean, the part that you say, it's just preseason is the personnel. That 28 key players of the 53 did not appear in the game today. And a lot, like at one point, I just saw them all kind of hanging out on the sideline. There was Quinnen, Jermaine, Will, and everybody. And you're just like, damn, like, all the and put Wilson because he played, but like you look at that and you're like, whoa, all these guys are going to be on this team when it matters. Like that's crazy. So yeah, the penalties, I kind of say, let's see what happens. The one I will say is the cool thing I love about the broadcast, you're getting all these different angles. Like Will McDonald, to your point, he had a roughing the passer play that occurred where he kind of just like whoever the Washington quarterback was at the time, I can't remember who it was because they used like 4 or 5 different guys. He said he grabbed the guy and kind of like rode him to the ground and then just kind of give him like a body slam, like a Pokemon, and just kind of at the end went, Pah! And the cool thing was we went over to Jermaine. So like that, the play happens. Will McDonald gets called for roughing the passer. It was actually negated anyway because there was a penalty on the offense. So like it didn't. They were replaying the play anyway. But they showed a shot of Jermaine Johnson and Will McDonald talking on the sideline. Jermaine's coaching him up. I said, "Oh, that's so freaking cool." And Robert Sauer, after the game, said the referee said it was a pressure weight thing, and it's true. What Jermaine was trying to explain to Will is that when you're in that position, and either the quarterback's dragging you down or you're coming on top of him, just like kind of spread your hands almost like a flapjack and do a jumping jack, and just try to like show that you're like spidering it, trying to put your weight on your hands and feet, not just kind of macho man and kind of get on his ass. Which again, by the letter of the law, he did. But again, it's such a crappy rule and impossible to try to navigate live in the moment that it's an incredibly difficult thing, like I said, to be able to do. With that being said, okay, let's wrap up a couple of things here. First Choice Sports Management, shout out. This is Cole Laval's representation here on Twitter. I saw Cole rocking around a little bit. I'm going to have to get a much deeper dive to see all of his plays to get a resnap of his snap count and the games he was in. But shout out to Cole Laval, who again is one of those key guys that's battling Jake Hansen's hurt. Cole Laval is the top interior guy, not named Wes Schweitzer on this team. He's got versatility. He's played all 5 of the offensive line positions. He's got a real path to the roster, especially with Jake Hansen hurt, who is a guy that a lot of people projected as that 10th offensive lineman. It's probably between Jake and Cole Laval, so let's keep an eye out for that as well. And the other one I wanted to get to is, so there is a clip I will actually play, and there's one I won't. Just a tip of the cap to Green Bean. Connor Hughes asked about Kenny Yeboah after the game, and Green Bean is the huge he's the huge Kenny Yeboah fan, and he asked Salah straight up that now there's no Nick Bodden on the roster. Is the tight end, are the Titans going to serve in that role? Or is like Nick Bodden basically coming back at some future point, and we're just all like talking for no reason? Then Nick Bodden comes back, we're like, oh, that was a waste. So he said yes, he expects all his tight ends to kind of be versatile there, and he kind of gave the tip of the cap to Kenny Yeboah, who can both contribute both as a blocker, where he's been predominantly known for the Jets, but also as a receiver. So Green Bean, wherever you are, if you're watching this, Kenny Yeboah stand up, stand up. And the last one I want to get to here, Woody, before we put a bow on this puppy, is Olu Fashanu, who played the entire first half from the New York Jets. I won't play the clip. I know we're running out of time, but Olu played the entire first half. And basically what Salah said is, like, we wanted to get him a lot of reps, so that was intentional. And number two, he says, and he smiles and says, well, we're hoping this is the full extent of his playing time here in 2024 because he's on the bench, because obviously Tyron Smith and Morgan Mose ahead of him, they're healthy, they're kicking ass, and Olu's just learning behind the scenes. But I'll tell you, I love some people were debating this on social media. I love giving Olu these kind of reps. I don't necessarily want to see him, and some people have asked for this, like a jumbo guy. We're in jumbo formation at the goal line and throw him in. You can throw any boob in, with all due respect. As the 7th tight end, as an extra blocker, that there's a lot of bodies that get thrown around there. That's where I kind of get nervous of injuries, and he could just get a cheap guy thrown into him, and all of a sudden he's out for the year or something. So, nah, I don't want to see any of that. Thank you very much. But if you want to see him as a straight up tackle in these preseason games, sign me the hell up. Give him a ton of reps. Tyron ain't playing outside of maybe in that final preseason game for a quick workout. I love to see what we saw from Fashanu getting a full first half of action. Your thoughts as we wrap up the show?
Definitely. I mean, the best teacher is experience. So getting him out there, I have absolutely no qualms. We don't want him to play during the regular season, so play, as much as you can in the preseason, get those reps in. And Washington had a lot of their starters in. So, I mean, that was, that's bona fide experience. He wasn't going against practice squad guys for a full half. He was going against guys that will play in the season. So I think that's really good. Keep it rolling. I'm high on Olu, but I gotta give a shout out to one other person, for sure. I've been talking about him, and you guys, you guys are fickle. You guys are so fickle,
wow.
fickle. Okay. Because in February, another F word, we as in Boy Green and I were out here debating about which running back, Kareem Hunt, AJ Dillon. We was talking about that. And you guys had the pitchforks. Izzy is RB2. Izzy is RB2. Now I can't find anybody. I'm trying to get the radar. Trying to find one person who can say anything positive about Izzy Abanaconda. You guys are all gone. You guys are fickle. But
funny how that happens. Yeah.
Me, who I said we need an RB2. I never said Izzy was trash. I didn't say it then, and I'm not saying it right now. And look at what happened. They got to the goal line, and they tried. Valde, take these carries. Hey, we need to score. We don't want to lose this game. We're at MetLife. We're in front of our fans. They came out here, first game of the season. We need to score. Izzy, get in there, get busy. What does he do? Easy touchdown, and then we don't see him again. I mean, they gave him, I want to say, one drive, maybe 2 drives, the first drives of the second half, and then after that, they moved on to Valade. They moved on to I'm forgetting his last name, but
Deion Jackson, who just got
Jackson.
Yeah.
So they moved on to the other guy. So Izzy didn't even get any real burn, but they knew that he was the guy that was going to score the touchdown. When they needed a touchdown, they knew. So that just kind of breaks my heart, because they know they have a talented back, but they're burying him, behind all these backs. And I guess, we'll see where his next chapter is, but it does not look like it's in the green and white.
It does not at this point. Rapid fire here, a couple of things. First off, sometimes we see takes on the show, Woody, that I'm like, you know what? Some people are going to disagree with this. And then I say it. Saying Izzy, oh boy, we're going to need another running back in the room was not one of those takes where I'm like, oh boy, people are going to be grabbing their pitchforks and torches. But I guess that's what makes this job interesting. Shout out to Scott Campbell here. He said, Cole Laval ended up playing from the first quarter, 3 minutes left, all the way to the end of the game, no penalties, and had 7 or 8 pancakes. Terrific. I'm a breakfast guy, so the more pancakes, the better as far as I'm concerned. And great, no penalties. So again, Cole Laval has to just keep continuing doing those things. That'll be great. These are just shout outs. We don't have time to get into this in deeper detail. We will tomorrow morning on Boy Green Daily. Greg Zerline's the greatest kicker of all time. 56-yarder, no problem. Boop. Legatron, getting it done. Love to see it. Shout out to Austin Seibert, who it looks like Robert Sauer said after the game that we feel like we have an awesome second kicker, and he's better than a lot of the kickers that are employed by NFL teams. So he certainly took his shot there from that perspective. Qantas Stiggers was flying around. It continues to seem like the game is not too fast for him. Shout out to him. And my boy, Michael Clemens, the pass rush juice, the run stopping. He grabbed an offensive lineman and threw him into a running back. The Washington running back went, whoa, in the red zone. Terrific. So again, we don't have enough time to get into those guys, but I'll give more love to those guys tomorrow morning on Boy Green Daily. But thank you, everybody, for joining us here for this the first post-game show of the 2024 season. We'll be doing it after every game, 2 hours after the final whistle, live here on my channel, youtube.com/boygreen25, and in the other features, Heavy on Jets and Twitter. Woody, any final thoughts before we sign off?
Thank you for having me. Everybody watching, of course, Boy Green. I won't be here for every post game, but I was here for this game. Yes. And, always a pleasure to talk Jets with my people. Let my people go.
Hallelujah. God bless. We'll see you guys tomorrow morning for Boy Green Daily. Take care, everybody, and enjoy your night.